Hello, beauty. I've missed you. I hope that you are doing well. I hope that this time shut up in your house is still filled with fun and joy and laughter and peace. And you know, you are going to be okay. You really are. The big people around you, they're going to make sure that you're okay. Nothing is going to happen that your parents and your grandparents and that God can't help you with. There's a story in the Bible that maybe will help you understand that there's nothing that's going to happen that God can't fix. So Jesus, you know, was a person like you. And he had friends. He had people that he loved. And there was a family that he loved. They lived in a little town called Bethany. It was just a couple miles from Jerusalem, so when Jesus went to Jerusalem, he often stayed with them. It was two sisters, Mary and Martha, and their brother Lazarus. And Jesus loved them. So a lot of things happened, and you know, they couldn't see each other as often as they wanted, and Jesus was way up north. He was way up north in Galilee, and he got a message from the sisters saying, "Lord, Lazarus is sick." And Jesus got that message, and here's the weird part. He didn't go right away. He said, everything is going to be okay. God's glory is going to be shown in this. And he didn't go. He waited 2 days. 2 days later, he said to his disciples, "Okay, let's go back to Judea." That's where Bethany was. And the disciples said, "Not a good idea. There's people there who want to hurt you." And Jesus said, "Yeah, let's go back anyway." So they headed toward Bethany. Now, Lazarus had already died. It looks like Jesus is too late, doesn't it? It looks like this is going to be a really sad story. Everybody thinks this is going to be a sad story, right? Come, the one you love is sick, he waited, then they talked about it a little bit, then they headed back, and in the meantime, Lazarus dies. Awful. Just awful. So when Jesus gets near Bethany, Martha hears that Jesus is coming. And she marches right out to talk to Jesus. She's sad and she's mad and she's angry and she's confused. And she sees Jesus and she says, "If you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died." And Jesus says, "Your brother will rise again." And Martha says, "I know, on the last day, when everyone rises, he'll rise again, but I want him now." Jesus says, "Don't you know? I'm the resurrection. I'm the life. People believe in me, they'll never die. Do you believe this?" And she says, "Yes, I believe that you're the Messiah, you're the king, you're the priest, you're the one who's coming into the world." But just between you and me, do you think she really understood everything he was saying? I don't think so either. So Martha goes home and she tells Mary, "Mary, Jesus is looking for you." And Mary comes out to see Jesus, and he's still in that same place. He's got lots of feelings too. And Mary kneels down in front of him and she says the same thing her sister said. "If you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died." And she starts to cry. And all the people with her start to cry. And Jesus, he cries too. Did you know that Jesus cries? Did you know that when you cry, it's okay? I know sometimes people tell you not to cry, but Jesus cried. He was really sad. People he loved were really hurting. And he didn't like that at all. So he told the people, "Take me to where you've buried him." And they did. And again, he had all kinds of feelings. And then he prayed this wonderful prayer. It's a prayer that a child like you can understand. There's no fancy words. There's no big ideas. Jesus looks up to heaven and he says, "God, thank you for hearing me. Well, I know you always hear me, but I'm saying this out loud because there's people around. Thank you." And then He has them roll the stone away from the tomb where Lazarus is, where his body is. You know what a tomb is, right? That's a place where you put a dead body. He has them roll the stone away. Everybody's anxious because they think that he'll be stinky. Lazarus will be stinky because he's been in that tomb for 4 days, that his body has been decaying and rotting. Jesus isn't worried about that at all. Jesus doesn't care if people are stinky. Jesus loves Lazarus, and he loves Mary, and he loves Martha, and he loves you. So they roll the stone away, and Jesus just says very simply, Lazarus, come out. And he does. The man who'd been dead 4 days gets up and comes out into the sunshine, into the light, into the squeals of his sister. Both of them. They are so happy. Lazarus is so happy. And everyone else, can you imagine? Can you imagine their faces? How surprised they are? I think that would be fun to imagine that together, don't you? I would be grateful if you would draw me a picture or paint me a picture this week and have your parents take a picture of it and send it to me, and I'll put it on the website. This is what I want the picture to be. I want the picture to show Lazarus coming out, and somehow all of the surprised, happy, amazed faces of the people who see it. Remember, they gotta be really amazed. This is not being amazed that your football team scored a touchdown or being amazed that your teacher said you didn't have to do your homework. This is someone who was dead 4 days, has just been called back to life by the power of Jesus. What do you think everyone's faces looked like? I can't imagine it. But I have a friend like you, and I know you can. So you think about this story. You pray about this story a little bit, and then you make something for me, something beautiful, something important that'll help me and all the other adults experience the wonder of this story like we did when we were your size. You know, I love you like crazy. And more important than that, Jesus loves you forever. And there's no place you can go, there's nothing that can happen to you where you're away from his love and away from his voice. Forever and ever. I promise. I'll talk to you soon. Love you.